Hey, welcome guys back to the channel. This is your host Maverick here, and today we're going to be watching another episode of BEASTARS. And so there is a little bit of difference in regards to this episode. I listened to your guys' feedback, and I am giving out the subs from Rakushin a try. Right now, up to now, I've been using subs from post-apocalyptic subs. They've been a pretty good group so far, and a pretty well-respected group. But apparently, a lot of you guys have some issues with the way that they are translating things. Rakushin, as far as I know, he's more of an independent subber, right? He's doing this just from his own passion, but I have noticed that he's been getting them out very, very fast, and apparently you guys also feel that his translations are a bit more accurate than the post-apocalyptic subs are. So I figured I'd give it a shot, right? Still though, I probably still keep my normal upload schedules, maybe sometime on Friday, maybe sometime on Saturday. But in any case, I'm gonna give it a shot as per recommendation by you guys. So, on to the actual episode at hand, right? Last episode, we saw Haru getting kidnapped, and both Legoshi and Louis know about the situation. Now, Legoshi, of course, is trying to go, and help rescue Haru, whereas Louis is more like, he has some more stuff on his plate in regards to the big picture, right? Now, with that being said, I personally don't really feel that Legoshi can do anything by himself, right? He's going up against a sort of mafia group, and not to mention the mafia group is literally composed of lions. We've already seen this anime has pretty much shown the animals true to form, and so lions, by their fighting power is still much higher than that of a wolf's, right? And not to mention, Legoshi is literally still a student, whereas the Mafia group is grown men in Mafia, right? They're literally made for fighting. So I highly doubt that Legoshi is going to just go in and try and take on the group by himself. So I do feel like the logical progression would still be to get Louis on board, and then maybe Louis can I don't know, use his connections of his to sorta kinda get things rolling, right? At least that's how I think this is going to play out. Is that so or not? Let's find out together. Alright, so the beginning of this was the opening, I skipped that, and so let's just start in 3, 2, 1, play. Okay. A Shishigumi group. I think that's probably not something you should just go around and ask people of. And he is about to get mugged or robbed or something. Oh. How naive can you be, Legoshi? Yeah, it's Panda Dude. Oh, is Panda Dude gonna help him? Okay, go in. But I kinda wanna call you Panda. 35 lions.
食殺をビジネスにしてるヤバい連中だ。俺ですら関わりたくないね。狼一頭で立ち向かったところで。
わかった。わかりました。とりあえず行けってどっちですか？
聞いてたか俺の話。何のつもりか知らねえが死ぬぞ。
まあ話聞いてるとそれはありえますね。
は？
でも誘拐されたんです。この前話したウサギの女の子が。
かわいそうだが諦めるんだな。とっくに食われちまってるよ。
彼女のことを何としても助けなきゃいけないんです。俺は肉食獣として彼女に償いたいことがあるので。初めて会った時彼女を食べようとしてしまったこと、そしてそんなダメな狼の俺が今彼女を好きになってしまっていること、全部償って万が一俺が生きてたら告白できたらいいな。まあ無理かな。
バカバカしい。
池の場所教えてくれないなら大丈夫です。ありがとうございました。
おいおい。
Yeah, he is stubborn. Come on, Gohan. You're going to go after him, I can tell already.
私が何も知らないと思ってるなら大間違いです。手越先輩が好きな子を知った時はさすがにびっくりしましたけどね。手越先輩どこ行ったんですか？
Oh, his eye is still bruised.
あいつはもう戻ってこないかもしれない。私真面目に聞いた。事実なんだよ。あのウサギが関係してるんですか？
He's actually letting out a lot more information than I thought he would.
何も止められなかった。今夜死ぬかもしれない。
Right, so he's literally going to go in there?
正面突破は無理だ。
John Wick style? Alright.
どうしよう。
珍しいな、狼が一匹で。群れなきゃ動けねえ奴らだと思ってたが。報復だろうがセールスだろうが縄張り侵入は許さねえ。
いや、まず話を聞いてください。俺が来たのにはちゃんと理由が。
ああ、ダメダメ。奪ってくれるなよ、せっかくのチャンスを。おじさんたち猫科はな、君ら犬科のことが身もだいするほど。
Oh yeah, it is cats versus dogs. Okay.
尻尾フリフリお手ワンワンでどうにも社交的で尺に触る。代表格のハイエロオオカミ君を重くそズドンできるんだから、これは思いがけねえ褒美だぜ。最後に言いたいことはあるかい？
入ってくる。
What?
まさか。いや、確実に。
こいつはハルちゃんに触れた。
彼女に何をした？
ああ、もしかしてあのウサギを助けに来たのか。だったら50の塔の一番上だ。でも少し遅かったな。あの子に会いたいならゲロ吐かすしかねえぞ。胃袋の中で。まだ消化されていない。
Ooh, look at him. Damn. What? So does he have some actual special powers that other carnivores or other grills don't really have? What? You're actually attracting a lot of attention.
俺は知っている。俺はあの子の血の匂いを知っている。ハルちゃんは俺のものだ。ハルちゃんは
Their prey? Ah. Ah, that's awkward. Ooh. Ah, there's Gyohin. Wait, so are they literally going to go in guns blazing style?
こいつらみてえに戦闘に特化した農家に狼のお前が勝つ唯一の方法はその顎を使うことつまり噛みつきだけだ
Can't do it. Even at a time like this.
見てらんねえよまったくこんな命がけの告白があるいいか次は必ず首を狙い首を噛むんだ
A love born from hunting instincts. Yeah, listen to that guitar in the background. Damn. This is getting epic. I mean, I don't... Like, how is a panda and a kid wolf, able to go up against the literal mafia who are lions? I mean, it's definitely epic, don't get me wrong, but... Woohoo! Like, these have to be the most useless lions I've seen. Oh. Oh.
この手でとどめさしてやる
I still don't get it. Like, what?
そんなに経ってない。はるちゃん、はるちゃん、きっと君は生きてるね。
気持ち悪い
君に会いたいな。
おいこら何ラリって
体中の筋肉が体が熱いのも君を感じるからだ。本能よりももっと手前にある俺を強くするシンプルなわがまま。早く会いに行こう。
Literally being powered by love. Alright.
死ぬんじゃねえぞはいゴーリンさんも生意気言いやがって
あれ背景ってこういう場合いらない？そもそも背景って何？ああ、挨拶的なやつか。それはいっか。誰に向けたやつとかわからない。
Is this right now?
てか
Or...
遺書に挨拶なんて書くの
Yeah, yeah, it's right now.
なんか辛気臭くてやだわ。遺書っていうか、単に自分の人生振り返りたくなったんだよ 面白いくらい惨めに終わる私の人生。誘拐されて変な団体に捕まって、こうやって美味しい肉かどうか検品されている今。言い訳しても遅いけど、私はメスとして、小動物として、必死に生きてきただけなんです。本当なんです。でも私の生き方って、いわゆるこういう最後を迎えて叱るべきだったというか。だってもう、私みたいな女がドワーフウサギに生まれた時点で幸せになれるはずなかったのよ。私はごく一般的なドワーフウサギの家庭に
We are getting her life story.
一般的に愛情を注がれて育ちました。兄弟の中でも一番体が小さかった私が両親から言われてきたことは、常に用心しなさい。ドワーフウサギは草食動物の中でもとても弱いの。だから用心するのよ。どうして？何かあったらすぐ死んじゃうからよ。幼少期はその言いつけに釈然としなかったけど、10歳になると私もだんだん理解してきた。
ああ、持つよ。
ありがとう。いくら大きくなっても、どの動物も赤ん坊を見るような目で私を見てる。なんで笑ってんの？
え？
なんでもない。ありがとう。私が小さくて、弱くて、かわいそうだから。何かあったらすぐに死んじゃう。かわいそうな生き物には、みんな嘘みたいにニコニコした顔を向ける。ごめん。
怪我はない？
はるちゃんはこれでいいよ。
So she doesn't want to be pampered, right?
この笑みを向けられながら成長し、私は中学3年生になり。
俺さ、ずっと春のこと好きで、付き合ってください。
笑ってない。私は見つけてしまった。自分と他の動物が対等になるひと
Sex.
とき。この時だけは私はかわいそうじゃない。弱者として扱われない嘘のない交流。私はか弱いドワーフウサギではなく、ただの春として誰かに見てほしかったのだ。
春、大丈夫？
おかしなことかもしれないけど、私は初めてありのままの自分を認められた気がした。友達が減っても、軽蔑されても、私にとってはかわいそうって同情されるよりは全然マシだったのです。でももう終わりです。もう終わり。くだらないドワーフウサギのくだらない18年間、さようなら。好きになった男の子に本当に言いたいことは言えないまま、生まれてきた意味も自分の本当
You never confessed to him? No.
残って
Legacy.
なんで
Damn.
テレゴシ君が愛想もなく言葉も少なく、何考えてんのか全然わからない。でもいつも全力でぶつかってきた灰色狼の男の子。あなただけは哀れむことも同情もせず、いつも私自身を見てくれていた。本当に変な子ね。そうだよね。どうせ死ぬなら最後くらい、あなたに恥ずかしくないウサギでありたいな。
屈辱や周知は体内に血を巡らせ、より肉の味を高みに持っていくのだ。
ねえおじさん。
Kick him right in the balls. Gone.
すみませんね。私あなたが能が鍛れてる間、脳内で遺書書いてました。 めちゃめちゃ冷静ですよ。あなた美食家なんですって。申し訳ないけど最悪なディナーになりそうね。悔しくも恥ずかしくもない女の硬い肉を食べるんだから、おじさん早くしたら味が落ちてく一方よ。こっちは覚悟できてるんだから。
どうやら甘やかしすぎたようだね。私は硬い肉など受け付けぬぞ。心を込めて蹂躙してあげよう。
Tenderize. Tenderize how?
まずは耳だ。
一人ぼっちだな、最後も。助けなんて来ない。来ないの。
Alright, Legacy to the rescue.
私の人生。
Come on, flying kick. No, I can flying punch. Okay, I guess that works as well. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're definitely falling for him. Alright, get lovey-dovey. You guys can get lovey-dovey in a second, right? I will chase you to the end of the earth, Fuzzball. Oh, that was great. I mean, totally... totally dropping on the realism scale, but yeah, that is very epic. Alright, it's the sun. Alright, yeah, we know the sun. Alright. I'll see you guys after the ending. Well, that was certainly an action-packed episode, wasn't it? And of course, at the very end there, with Legoshi making this heroic entrance to save Haru and whatnot, probably a lot of people are like hooting and hollering and applauding, right? Now, for me though, the entire time I was thinking that these are, without doubt, the worst lions I've ever seen, and quite probably the worst mafia group I've ever seen as well. Like, come on, I thought the setting was supposed to be that this is an organization that's feared by the authorities, they don't want anything to do with them, they don't want to cross them, you know, all the bystanders, all the people who, even though they're doing some sort of shady stuff at the black market and whatnot, they all feared this group as well, because it's, you know, it's sort of semi-related with mafia and whatnot, and they all believe that they'll be killed if they have anything to do with it. And then you're expecting me to believe that a student wolf and an old retired panda are able to just go in, waltz their way through, and defeat all of them? Like, come on, seriously here. Now, I know a lot of you guys are probably here because of BEASTARS, and you haven't watched my other works, right? So let me be frank here, I do call things out that I feel are a little bit harder for me to swallow. And don't get me wrong here, right? The reason why I want to bring this up is not because I want to be nitpicky, but because, to me, this series has so far been very good at keeping the animal hierarchy in place. In fact, you can even say that the entire story is based on this animal hierarchy, right? If we go back to maybe episode 4 or 5, or, you know, sometime during the early episodes, we see Legoshi confronting Bill, who is a tiger, right? And so, during that fight, something that I felt was really really good is that it showed the power difference between a tiger and a wolf, right? Even though Legoshi seemed to be having this upper hand, he was in his fit of rage as well, and punching away at Bill and whatnot. Still, to Bill, who was a tiger, eventually he shrugged it off, and then once he really got serious, he just completely overpowered Legoshi, right? Because a tiger versus a lion, a tiger versus a wolf, the wolf would stand absolutely no chance. There's a huge gap in their strength and weight difference, right? And so the same thing goes for here as well. Lions and tigers are pretty comparable in terms of their size, their prowess, their strength, etc., etc. And I mean, sure, we got this entire power of love or something like that, but even then, unless you're saying that, of course, unless this series is actually also, having some sort of supernatural power as well, then okay, fine. I can maybe get that part. But I just didn't really feel. I mean, I started the entire episode talking about this, right? I felt that there was no way in hell that a wolf could take on lions, let alone multiple lions. Like in real life, a lion versus a wolf, the wolf would probably be dead within 3 seconds. Like, let's be honest here. If they were like trapped in a cage or something, and the lion was hungry, the wolf was hungry, yeah, the wolf's pretty much dead meat in 3 seconds, right? So I don't know, man. And the thing that also gets me is that they didn't have to do it this way, right? So let's say, for the sake of argument, what kind of alternatives could there have been in order to make this scene still carry out the same way, but maybe follow the internal logic of the series a little bit better, right? So, say for instance, Gohan and Legoshi, them taking down the single lion outside. I could totally see that, right? They got the drop on him, and he was probably also very surprised by the strength that Legoshi showed and whatnot. So I could totally see that, right? So take that away. That one, I have no problem with. Then I feel like they could have done something like, instead of just going in through the front door, guns blazing, and they didn't even have any weapons. Like, come on. Well, I guess Gohan did, but the other side literally had guns, right? Instead of going in there like through the front door and just head-to-head smash, face-on smash, they could have created some sort of diversion with, I don't know, like setting up a fire someplace, or heck, even drawing most of the other lions away, and then so they could make their way up there, maybe ambushing a few stragglers that were still within the building, something like that. Or heck, if they even want to get more creative, they could do something to sort of obscure the visibility of the lions there, like maybe just take out the power source, right? Cut the power to the building and whatnot, or I don't know, maybe use some smoke or something in order to blind everyone, and then they could utilize another animalistic trait of wolves as well, and that is their superior sense of smell. So whereas everybody else would be blinded, and they can't really see where they are, Legoshi would be able to, because of his superior smell, be able to either take down the different lions while they are blinded, or just avoid them all and make his way up to the top floor, right? And then once he did get there, he could have literally did the same thing there. Like, I have no problems with that ambush as well. It took the leader of the group completely by surprise. And so get that one good hit in, and then now they're going to do some wrestling, right? And I could totally see that as well. And in some kind of chance fluke for Legoshi to overpower this old guy, this old geezer, that would be much more plausible than him and Gohan literally fighting their way through dozens of lions in order to reach the top floor, right? And then you would still be able to get this. You would still be able to feel the ferociousness of Legoshi and Gohan, and also the logic would be internally consistent, and you would still be able to keep the great heroic entrance as well, right? Like, wouldn't that have been a much better alternative to just going in there and punching their way through? Like, I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, it's an anime, right? I get it. It's fine. It's supposed to be unrealistic, right? You're supposed to be depicted scenes that don't really happen or can't happen in real life. But so normally I wouldn't have any problem with this. It's just that I feel it's kind of I just feel like it's a missed opportunity, especially in the case where this series, this anime so far, has been so consistent with the way that it's portraying the animals. And to suddenly divert from that just makes me feel like, there could have been a much better way to do this and still keep the overall feel of the anime. So, yeah, there we go. But of course, epic scene is epic, and like I always say, the rule of cool, if it's cool, then fine. It's fine, right? So, anyways, that was in regards to the entire rescue scene and whatnot. So let's talk about Haru a little bit, right? And we did get kind of her backstory as well. It's a pretty regular backstory, and some of you guys have already commented on what exactly Haru was thinking and why she's acting this way, right? So what's my opinion on this right now? The thing that I get from this, from this sort of self-confession or whatnot, or this sort of autobiography, I guess you could say, is that people are varied. I mean, in this case, animals, but for the sake of argument, let's just say people are varied, right? So even dwarf rabbits, you can't just lump them all together and say, okay, they're all dwarf rabbits, right? They each have their own individual personalities, so on and so forth. And the thing I'm talking about here is that her entire point about she doesn't want to be sympathized with, she doesn't want to be treated as a weakling or whatnot. She has absolutely every right to feel that way, right? But the thing is, she may not like it, but there's bound to be many others more who enjoy this kind of preferential treatment, right? And I mean, this is in a sort of way what it is, right? You could also call it racism in a certain way, but it's positive racism, if that is even a thing. Similar to the concept of because he's Asian, so he must be smart, he must be able to play instruments, yada yada yada, right? It's a more positive kind of racism. Or say for instance, because he's black, he can dance, or he can jump higher, or he has better athletic ability, right? Like that kind of stuff. It is because she's really trying to in her mind, she doesn't want to be pitied, I guess you could say. But I feel like that's just looking at the situation in a negative way. If you look at it in a positive way, then it's just people being nice to you, right? So say for instance, let's take a real life example. Say people who are born or through some kind of accident or whatnot, so they're handicapped, right? They've either lost an arm or a leg. Well, no shit, we're going to be giving them preferential treatment and doing our best to accommodate them. That's called being nice, right? So just because I'm offering you a helping hand because, you've literally lost one of your hands and I want to help you carry stuff, that doesn't mean that I'm looking down on you. It's just, well, it's called being nice to you. It's called being a human being, right? So I feel like that's kind of the situation here with Haru as well. I mean, absolutely, there could be handicapped people that are like, no, I don't want to be looked upon as lacking in some sort of way, right? I want to, prove that I'm the man as well. I don't need any of your help, and that's completely fine. But you have to state that first, right? You have to state that, and you have to make everybody know that that's the way that you want to be treated. Otherwise, the default for people, and in fact, I would say for the majority of people who are facing this kind of situation, they would want this kind of preferential treatment because it is an inconvenience to their lives, right? And same with Haru here as well. It is an inconvenience to her that, to them, these dwarf rabbits in general, that they are born in this kind of world, being weaklings, in this world with so many carnivores and whatnot, even though it is a society that sort of helps protect them. Still though, and anyways, I feel like the whole point is that she's looking at this in a very negative way. And the original point I was making is that people are varied, right? So I feel like perhaps this is talking about a bigger problem within the society we've seen in BEASTARS, and that is the individuality of each of the people here is being stripped in favor of racial segmentation, right? Racial segmenting. So because he's a wolf and they're wolves, so they're expected to be like that, right? And because Haru is a dwarf rabbit and dwarf rabbits are like this, so they're expected to be like this. Dogs are dogs, lions and lions, tigers, etc., etc., right? So I feel like perhaps this is sort of talking about, how we should treat each individual animal as each individual person in a sort of way, and not sort of lump them together just because of what particular species they are from. Perhaps this anime is trying to push this point forward. But that's just my guess anyways, and if it is, that is a nice sort of parallel and a use of, I guess you can also say that applies to our modern world as well, right? Just because this, and it doesn't even have to do with just purely racial stuff as well. You can even do it mixed with groups, right? For instance, just because someone likes to watch anime doesn't necessarily mean that they're all otaku weebs, right? Or they're overweight and so on and so forth, like these kind of negative connotations. Or somebody who likes to go out and party all day and go out clubbing and whatnot, it's entirely possible that they like to watch anime or read manga as well, right? Like, just getting rid of these stereotypes and how people need to fit into the mold of a particular group of people and typical descriptors and so on and so forth. Perhaps this is what the anime is trying to get at. And beyond that, one last point I want to make about Haru is the fact that in the end she decided that having sexual relations was the one time when she could feel she was on equal footing with others, right? And I guess that's quite an easy concept to understand. It definitely happens here in real life as well, such as some people using sex to women using sex to gain power and manipulate men and whatnot. Though Haru doesn't seem to go to that quite extremes, not quite that vicious, but yeah, I can totally get why she would feel that way. And yeah, it is effective, I have to say. You do gain a degree of power by using your body, right? And that is something that's been well documented already in a lot of real life examples as well. So no comment from me there. If that is how she wants to do it, hey, I always say, you utilize what you want to do, right? As long as you're okay with it, hell, more power to you, right? Although, like I said, I feel like in this case we should go more to the root of the problem, and that is she's really viewing this in too negative of a manner, one thing, or it's also the fact that society is placing this sort of stereotype on her, and that's something that she doesn't want, right? So both these problems need to be solved, and then perhaps she doesn't even need to use this method in the first place. Alright, so that was my thoughts and review of BEASTARS episode 10. Next episode, well, since they are already going this entire Rambo mode, right? So I'm assuming that Legoshi is probably going to be quite battered up, quite beaten up, but still able to rescue Haru in the end there, right? And then once he gets back, ooh, it's gonna be a whole nother story in regards to Louis, right? And Louis is probably going to be hating himself a lot for this, and it's also, the thing here is that it's probably also going to increase his hatred for or his discrimination towards carnivores even more, right? Because he's going to hate himself that he's a herbivore and he doesn't really have the capabilities such as Legoshi, a carnivore, to have that kind of strength and power to just go in and save someone, like go save Haru, right? He just doesn't have what it takes to do that, right? I mean, that's one part of the equation, and of course the other part is the the whole big picture and harmony between herbivores and carnivores kind of thing. But yeah, we'll get there when we get there. And so yeah, that's my review for BEASTARS episode 10. Looking at the Rakushin subs, I feel like, I see some grammar errors here and there, probably just because of the fact that it's rush job, but for the most part, I guess the translation does seem fine, so I'll probably be sticking it going forward. Right, that's my review of episode 10 of BEASTARS. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll see you guys next time. Adios.